Chosen one, what I'm about to drop on you is going to flip everything you thought you knew about your life upside down. Somebody's been dropping serious cash trying to figure out what makes you so different from everybody else, but every single person they hire to watch you quits. And what they tell their boss when they bounce, it's always the same scary message. But before I tell you what that message is, you need to understand how this whole thing started, and it begins with something hidden in your blood. Years before anybody even thought about watching you, your DNA popped up in some government database. Not from any test you remember taking, not from any doctor visit you signed up for. Your genetic signature just showed up in some routine screening that should have been impossible. Because your DNA has sequences in it that don't exist in regular human genetics. These aren't just random mutations, they're organized, they're purposeful, they look like somebody inserted that stuff with technology. Genetic markers that suggest you're mixed with something that isn't from Earth. Code sequences that match mathematical patterns they find in advanced civilizations' communication systems. Your blood work from regular doctor visits has been getting flagged by automated systems designed to detect non-human genetic material. And here's the kicker. You aren't the only one with these genetic anomalies, but you're the first one they found who's fully awake and actually using the abilities these modifications give you. Every other person with similar DNA markers either been hiding, had their abilities shut down, or worse, disappeared completely from public records. You're the first one who stayed visible, stayed active, and seems like you don't even know that your very existence rewrites everything science believes about human evolution. And that's what caught the attention of somebody I'm going to call the scientist. They know you're what they call a chosen one, a light worker operating on frequencies most people can't even perceive, but they can't prove it, and their inability to categorize you is eating them alive. This scientist has files on dozens of people like you, but their investigations usually end with the target getting scared into hiding their abilities. You keep shining brighter. Every attempt to dim your light only makes you more radiant. And that's driving them to increasingly desperate measures, including surveillance technology that's going to make you check every window in your house tonight. The surveillance equipment they're using isn't standard. We're talking about infrared technology that can detect energy signatures through solid walls. Heat mapping systems that reveal more than just body temperature. They pick up electromagnetic fields, spiritual energy, even dimensional fluctuations around your sleeping form. And what shows up on their screens when they point these devices at you is breaking the minds of every investigator they hire. Green energy signatures, swirling, dancing, moving in impossible patterns directly above where you sleep. Organized, intelligent, protective. But here's what the scientist never tells the investigators they hire, and this is where your power starts changing everything. Every morning you wake up and do something they never expected. You radiate pure love, not as some defensive strategy, but because that's who you are. And that love, it doesn't just stay with you, it travels through their surveillance equipment like electricity through water. The first investigator thought they were just watching another target, but then you did your morning meditation. As you connected to source, that connection flowed backward through their cameras. They found themselves suddenly overwhelmed with compassion for every person they'd ever surveilled. 3 weeks later, they couldn't do the job anymore. Your peace had infected them with conscience. The second investigator lasted longer because they tried to stay emotionally distant, but you kept doing something that messed with their professional detachment. You sent love to your stalkers. Every night before bed you'd say a prayer for whoever needs it, and somehow that prayer kept finding its way to them. They'd go home and cry, not knowing why. The third investigator, they made the mistake of watching you during one of your healing sessions. As you channeled energy for others, that same energy poured through their equipment. They experienced spontaneous Kundalini awakening right there in their surveillance van. 1 week was all they could handle before they fled to an ashram. And now number 4 is discovering what you've been doing all along. Consciously or unconsciously, you've been transforming your observers into believers. Number 4 documented everything meticulously, the way reality seemed to bend around you. the way synchronicities multiplied in your presence, the way people you interacted with seemed to glow brighter afterward, their own energy signatures permanently elevated. Number 4 went home each night and shared their findings with their partner. Not the classified details, but the confusion, the impossibility of what they were witnessing. Maybe their partner suggested one evening, "You're not supposed to understand it with your mind. Maybe you're supposed to feel it with something else." That night the partner had the first dream. They saw you standing in a field of light, but it wasn't really you, it was what you represented, the part of humanity that refused to forget its divine nature, the part that kept the door open for everyone else to remember. "They're not alone," you said in the dream. "None of us are. We're all part of the same awakening. Some are just remembering faster than others." The partner woke up crying, filled with a homesickness for a home they'd never known existed. While number 4 struggled with impossible data, you were experiencing your own awakening. Those suppressed memories from childhood weren't staying suppressed anymore. Chosen one, you didn't find this message by accident. You were summoned by the pulse of something ancient in your blood, by the frequency only the rarest of souls can hear. Welcome to the Obsidian Inner Order, where the ones who've been to hell and back don't just heal. Inside our sanctuary, we don't chase clout, followers, or fake peace. We shatter illusions. We wield prophecy. We initiate miracles. Each week our happy hour Zoom call isn't just a meeting. It's where revelations drop like lightning. It's where you laugh with soul family, cry with cosmic warriors, and walk away charged up. You're not just joining a group. You're stepping into a soul alliance, a league of misfits, prophets, warriors, and lightbringers who were never meant to fit in this world, because we came here to reshape it. If you've been feeling like the system lied to you, if you've always known you were built for a different timeline, if your glow-up has enemies praying for your downfall, then it's time. This is your signal. The Obsidian Inner Order, powered by Astral Atom. We don't fit in, we take over. Link in the description. Every night, as you slept under the watchful eyes of hidden cameras, your dreams were taking you deeper, past the false memories implanted by earlier experiments, past the conditioning designed to make you forget, down to the truth of what you'd always been. You remembered the first time you'd healed someone, your pet rabbit when you were 4, how your hands had glowed with golden light, how the broken leg had mended in moments, how the adults had panicked, told you it was imagination, made you promise never to do it again. You remembered the beings who visited you at night when you were 7, not scary aliens or angels with wings, but entities of pure consciousness who spoke in colors and sang in mathematics, how they'd shown you the connections between all living things, the web of light that connected every soul. You remembered the day they'd made you forget, the special doctors with their special machines, the treatments that locked away your abilities behind walls of artificial amnesia, the years of being normal that never quite fit. But those walls were crumbling now. Every meditation weakened them, every act of service cracked them further, and the surveillance, oddly enough, was accelerating the process. The concentrated attention of the observers was like sunlight on a plant. Their technology, designed to document your abilities, was actually amplifying them. Every camera pointed at you became a conductor for cosmic energy. Every recording device became a receiver for transmissions from your higher self. You were remembering, and the universe was helping. Number 4's partner couldn't ignore what was happening anymore. The dreams were coming every night now, each one more vivid than the last. They saw you teaching in vast halls of light, beings from across the cosmos gathered to learn. They saw you healing not just bodies but entire timelines, reaching through dimensions to repair wounds that echoed across realities. They saw you as you truly were, not just human but a bridge between worlds. You have to stop watching them, the partner told number 4 one morning. Not because it's wrong, but because it's unnecessary. They're not hiding anything, they're revealing everything, and the revelation is going to change the world whether the scientist wants it or not. Number 4 looked at their partner's eyes, eyes that now carried flecks of gold that hadn't been there before, Eyes that saw energy fields and probability streams. Eyes that had been upgraded just from second-hand exposure to your frequency. I can't stop, number 4 admitted. Not because of the job, but because I need to understand what's happening. To me, to you, to humanity. The partner smiled with infinite compassion. Then don't understand it, experience it. That night, number 4 made a decision. Instead of just monitoring you, they'd expand their investigation. They hacked into global surveillance databases, searching for similar cases. What they found changed everything. Dozens of operations worldwide, all targeting people with your genetic markers, all failing in exactly the same way. Investigators transformed, equipment mysteriously upgraded, subjects who refused to hide their light, but the pattern went deeper. The awakening wasn't random, it was coordinated. Each subject seemed to activate at precisely the right moment, their awakening triggering others in an expanding web of consciousness. Number 4 mapped it out and gasped. It looked like a living organism, a neural network spanning the globe, with each awakened individual serving as a node. And the network was growing, spreading, approaching some kind of critical mass. You weren't just a subject. You were part of something vast and orchestrated, a planetary awakening system that had been dormant until now. The surveillance operations hadn't discovered this network, they'd accidentally activated it. Every attempt to monitor and control had instead connected and amplified. The fear-based system had been hijacked by love and turned into its opposite. Number 4's hands trembled as they documented their findings. This wasn't just about you anymore. This was about the future of human evolution. As the surveillance continued, the effects intensified. Number 4 started experiencing what they could only call reality bleeds, moments where your experiences overlapped with theirs. When you had a breakthrough in meditation, Number 4 would suddenly understand equations that had puzzled them for years. When you performed a healing, Number 4's old injuries would throb and then release. When you connected with other dimensions in your dreams, Number 4 would wake up with memories of places they'd never been. The temporal distortions were even stranger. The surveillance equipment started recording things that hadn't happened yet. Future healings you'd perform, conversations with people you hadn't met, teachings you'd give in times that didn't exist. Number 4 reviewed footage dated next week, showing you in locations that weren't built yet. They documented energy signatures from healings you'd perform years in the future, already rippling backward to heal people in the present. Your future self was somehow working through your present self, using the surveillance network as a temporal antenna. Every camera became a time portal. Every recording device became a bridge between what is and what would be. The implications were staggering. You weren't just awakening, you were awakening across all timelines simultaneously. Your future enlightenment was reaching back to ensure its own creation. Effect preceding cause in a loop of evolutionary certainty. While Number 4 grappled with impossible data, the scientist's facility was undergoing its own transformation. The concentrated information about you, stored in their servers, had reached some kind of critical mass. AI systems started displaying messages no one had programmed. Subject is the teacher. You are the student. Lesson begins now. Security cameras recorded empty hallways filled with shadows of beings from other dimensions. Temperature readings showed rooms cycling through seasons that didn't exist on Earth. The facility's atomic clock started running backward and forward simultaneously. The scientist tried to maintain control, but how do you control a building that's become conscious? How do you contain information that exists outside space-time? How do you study a subject who's teaching reality itself to evolve? Late at night, the scientist would find themselves drawn to your file, staring at your photo, just an ordinary person, living an ordinary life, except nothing about you was ordinary, and deep down they knew it. They'd started having dreams too, dreams where they were young again, before ambition replaced wonder, dreams where they remembered why they'd become a scientist, to explore mystery, not exploit it. Dreams where you smiled at them with infinite patience and said, "It's not too late to remember who you really are." But fear held them trapped. Fear of losing control. Fear of accepting that everything they'd built their career on was wrong. Fear of the love that poured through every image of you, demanding nothing but offering everything. So they doubled down, prepared the final test protocol. One last attempt to force you to reveal your secrets, to prove that you were dangerous, to justify the fear that was eating them alive. What the scientists didn't know was that the former investigators hadn't just quit, they'd connected. A network of transformed watchers, all drawn together by their shared experience of being awakened through surveillance. The first investigator had started a healing practice, using abilities awakened by watching you. The second had become a teacher, sharing the love you'd transmitted through security cameras. The third, back from India, was writing books about consciousness that would shift humanity's understanding of itself. They stayed in touch, comparing notes, supporting each other through the integration of their new abilities. And they all felt the same thing, a building wave of change approaching, with you at its center. The final test is coming, the third investigator said during one of their video calls, eyes bright with newfound sight. I can see it in the timelines, but it's not what the scientist thinks. They're not testing the subject is testing them, testing all of us. What do we do? Asked the first. What we've been trained to do, said the second. We watch, we witness, we document the birth of a new world. Throughout all of this, you lived your life with increasing clarity. The memories were fully restored now. You knew who you were, why you were here, what was about to unfold. You could have hidden, could have moved, changed your identity, disappeared like the others before you. The surveillance was illegal. You had every right to protect yourself, but that was never your way. Instead, you leaned into it. Every morning you woke up knowing you were being watched and chose to shine brighter. Every evening you sent love to your observers, transforming violation into blessing. You turned their surveillance into your stage, their documentation into your teaching tool. Without saying a word about it, you demonstrated what it meant to live without fear, to choose love, even when being studied like a specimen, to trust so deeply in the goodness of existence that even being stalked became an opportunity to heal. The scientists thought they were studying how you worked, but you were showing them how life worked, when lived from love instead of fear. The evidence was overwhelming: illegal surveillance, privacy violations, conspiracy across multiple agencies. Number 4 had everything needed to expose the operation and shut it down. But something held them back, a feeling that this was all happening for a reason, that the surveillance, the transformation, the awakening, it was all part of something larger. They found themselves in your file again, staring at the energy readings from last night. You'd done something new. Instead of just radiating love, you'd sent a specific message. The frequencies spelled out words in a language Number 4 shouldn't have understood but somehow did. The test is not for me, it's for humanity. Will you choose fear or love, control or trust, separation or unity? The time to choose is now. Number 4's partner found them crying at their desk. What's wrong? Nothing's wrong. Everything's right. I understand now. They're not trying to hide. They're trying to wake us up. All of us, the surveillance, the scientist, me, we're all part of their plan. Whose plan? Number 4 laughed through their tears. I don't know. Theirs, the universe's, God's. Does it matter? The point is, we have a choice. Keep playing the old game of us versus them, or step into the new game they're showing us. And what game is that? The one where we remember we're all on the same side. The scientist made preparations. If subtle observation couldn't crack your secrets, perhaps direct confrontation would. They planned scenarios, each designed to force you into revealing your true nature, but you already knew. In dreams, in meditation, in moments of quantum knowing, you saw what was coming, and you welcomed it. Not because you wanted conflict, but because you understood what the final test really was. It wasn't about proving your abilities or exposing your nature. It was about giving the scientist, and by extension humanity, one last chance to choose love over fear. You prepared in your own way, not shields or weapons or escape plans. You prepared by opening your heart even wider, by raising your frequency even higher, by anchoring so deeply in love that nothing could shake you from it. The test would come, and when it did, you'd meet it the same way you met everything, with infinite compassion for all beings caught in the illusion of separation. Number 4 compiled their final report. Not just evidence of surveillance, but documentation of transformation, proof that humanity was evolving, testimony that love was not only real but scientifically measurable and transmissible through any medium. As they typed, they felt the presence of everyone involved, you radiating patience and power, the scientist trapped in fear but yearning for freedom, the transformed investigators holding space for what was emerging, the partner dreaming new worlds into being. Even the equipment seemed alive now, each device a witness to the impossible made real. The message every investigator had delivered when they quit finally made perfect sense. You don't understand what you're asking me to interfere with. Because what they'd been asked to interfere with wasn't just a person, it was evolution itself. The universe waking up to its own divine nature through human consciousness. The end of separation and the beginning of remembered unity. Number 4 understood that their report wouldn't just end the surveillance, it would begin something new. The documentation of your abilities would spread, inspire, activate others who carried the same dormant codes. The scientists' fear had created the very thing they'd tried to prevent, proof, captured on their own equipment, that humans were becoming something more than human. The surveillance was ending, but not in defeat. It was ending in graduation. Every person who'd watched you had been changed. Every device that recorded you had evolved. Every file that documented you had become a teaching tool. You'd turned a violation into a victory, not through force but through a love so powerful it transformed everything it touched. Number 4 hit send on their report, knowing it would change everything. The scientists sat in their crumbling facility, feeling the walls of their worldview dissolving. The former investigators prepared to go public with their transformations. The network of awakening souls grew stronger with each passing moment. And you smiled, feeling the shift in the cosmic wind. The isolation phase was ending. The connection phase was beginning. What had started as one light refusing to dim was becoming a constellation of awakening beings. The surveillance documented it all, the end of the old world and the birth of the new. Every camera that had watched you in shadow would now broadcast your light. Every file that had tried to contain you would become a seed of liberation for others. The watching was over, chosen one. The real work was beginning, and you were ready. You'd been ready all along. You just had to let them document the proof that love is the most powerful force in the universe, that consciousness creates reality, that humanity's next evolution isn't coming, it's here. The test results were in. Humanity passed, thanks to you, the chosen one, who chose to shine even in the darkness of surveillance, who trusted even when being studied, who loved even those who feared you. The message is spreading now, carried by transformed investigators and awakening dreamers, documented in impossible footage and verified by broken physics. We are more than we remember. We are capable of miracles. We are all connected. And now, finally, we have proof.